The Antikythera mechanism, a clockwork cosmos from the ancient sea. In 1900, sponge divers off the coast of the Greek island Antikythera stumbled upon a shipwreck unlike any other, a time capsule of Hellenistic engineering that would haunt archaeologists for over a century. Among the corroded statues and amphorae lay a lump of calcified bronze, unremarkable at first glance. Yet, beneath centuries of marine encrustation resided a machine so sophisticated that its reappearance forced historians to rewrite the timeline of human technological development. The Antikythera mechanism, as it came to be known, was not merely a relic but a mechanical computer, crafted around 100 BCE, capable of predicting eclipses, tracking planetary positions, and even syncing with the ancient Olympic Games cycle. Its gear system, comprising at least 30 precisely interlocking bronze cogs, defied known capabilities of the era. Nothing comparable would emerge in Europe until the 14th century astronomical clocks of medieval cathedrals. How could an ancient civilization, lacking even the simplest power tools, produce a device requiring micrometer-level tolerances and an understanding of differential gearing? Early dismissals labeled it an anomaly or even a modern hoax, but advanced imaging techniques, including X-ray tomography and surface scans conducted in the 2000s, confirmed its authenticity beyond doubt. The inscriptions etched into its housing, once thought indecipherable, revealed astronomical cycles derived from Babylonian data, yet synthesized through Greek geometric theory. Most perplexing is the presence of a pin and slot mechanism within one gear, a feature that models the elliptical irregularities of the Moon's orbit, a concept not formally described until Kepler's laws in the 17th century. Was this device a lone survivor of a lost lineage of ancient automatons? Did it emerge from a hidden school of Alexandrian technologists whose knowledge perished with the library's destruction? Or does it hint at an even more unsettling possibility, that ancient societies periodically achieved technological plateaus far beyond what we assume, only to collapse, leaving behind only enigmatic fragments like this one? The Antikythera mechanism remains not just an artifact, but a temporal paradox, proof that history may not be a linear climb, but a series of peaks and valleys, where forgotten genius occasionally pierces the veil of accepted chronology. 2. The Baghdad Battery, Ancient Electrochemistry, or Misinterpreted Relic. Discovered in 1936 near modern-day Utsuro-bune, just outside Baghdad, a series of unassuming clay jars sent shockwaves through the archaeological community, not for their aesthetic value, but for what they might imply about ancient technological prowess. Each vessel, roughly 6 inches tall, contained a copper cylinder encasing an iron rod sealed with asphalt that also served as an insulating stopper. When filled with an acidic liquid, such as vinegar or grape juice, these objects produced a small but measurable electrical current, typically between 0.5 and 1.5 volts. Dubbed the Baghdad Battery by Wilhelm Koenig, the German archaeologist who first studied them, these artifacts date to the Parthian or early Sasanian period, roughly 250 BCE to 250 CE. Mainstream archaeology has long dismissed their electrochemical potential, arguing they were merely storage containers for sacred scrolls, with the iron rods holding papyrus now disintegrated. But this explanation falters under scrutiny. Why encase a fragile scroll in conductive metal? And why the asphalt seal, which perfectly isolates the inner components from the outer clay? Experiments replicating the jars have consistently generated electricity, and some researchers have even used them to electroplate thin layers of gold onto silver, a technique known to exist in the ancient world but previously assumed to be purely chemical. If these devices were indeed primitive galvanic cells, they would represent a staggering leap, harnessing electrochemistry 2 millennia before Volta's pile in 1800.
Skeptics rightly demand evidence of wires, circuits, or electroplated artifacts directly linked to these jars, and none have been conclusively found. Yet, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, especially in a region ravaged by war and looting. More troubling is the implication. If ancient Mesopotamians understood basic electrical principles, what else might they have achieved? Could electrotherapy have been used in healing temples? Might weak currents have played a role in religious rituals, creating tingling sensations interpreted as divine touch? The Baghdad battery forces us to confront a disquieting truth. Our view of antiquity is shaped by what survives, and what we're willing to believe. In a world where electricity is so fundamental to modern life, the idea that it was once known and perhaps lost challenges the very foundation of our technological progress narrative. Whether a battery or a vessel, its ambiguity endures as a silent challenge to the assumption that innovation only moves forward.
The London Hammer, and parts encased in Ordovician stone. In 1936, a curious discovery in London, Texas, would become one of the most hotly debated, out-of-place artifacts, parts, in fringe archaeology. While hiking along Red Creek, Max Hahn and his wife stumbled upon a rock formation partially split open, revealing the unmistakable handle of a wooden hammer protruding from solid stone. Upon extracting it, they found a fully intact hammer, a 6-inch wooden handle, and a rusted iron head, its design consistent with 19th century American tools. Yet the hammer was encased in a concretion of rock later identified as Ordovician limestone, dating back approximately 440 million years. If the encasement is genuine and contemporaneous with the artifact, it would place this man-made object deep within Earth's pre-human past, shattering conventional timelines of intelligent life. Critics argue the concretion formed rapidly around the hammer due to mineral-rich groundwater, possibly within decades rather than eons, a phenomenon known as concretionary accretion. Indeed, iron corrosion can catalyze limestone deposition, and the surrounding rock lacks the typical fossil assemblages of true Ordovician strata at the site. However, analyses by researchers like Dr. John Morris of the Institute for Creation Research noted that the hammerhead is composed of 96.6% iron, 2.6% chlorine, and 0.74% sulfur, unusual for modern metallurgy, suggesting either contamination or an atypical manufacturing process. More intriguingly, the wooden handle, though mineralized, shows no signs of tool marks or wear consistent with heavy use, raising questions about its origin and age. While mainstream science dismisses the London hammer as a 19th century tool accidentally embedded in younger sediment that merely resembles ancient rock, the artifact continues to captivate those who question linear historical models. Could it be evidence of a pre-Adamic civilization? Or perhaps a temporal anomaly, where an object from the recent past became fused with ancient geology through unknown geological or even quantum processes. Regardless of interpretation, the London hammer stands as a physical paradox, an object whose context defies easy classification, forcing us to ask whether geology always tells a straightforward story, or whether Earth's strata might occasionally hold secrets that warp our understanding of time itself.
Number 4. The Koso artifact, a spark plug in Precambrian rock. In February 1961, amateur geologists Wallace Lane, Virginia Maxey, and Mike Meixel were prospecting for geodes near Olancha, California, when they discovered a curious stone embedded in a location dated to the Pleistocene epoch, roughly 500,000 years old. Upon cutting it open with the diamond saw, they were stunned to find a modern-looking object encased within. A cylindrical core with a ceramic insulator, a metallic shaft, and what appeared to be a corroded spring. Features unmistakably resembling a 20th century spark plug. Dubbed the Koso artifact after the nearby Koso range, the object quickly became a lightning rod for controversy. X-rays later revealed internal structures consistent with early 1900s Champion spark plug design, complete with a threaded end and layered insulation. If the surrounding rock was indeed hundreds of millennia old, the implications were staggering. Either human technology, or something mimicking it, existed far earlier than accepted history allows, or the artifact was a bizarre geological mimicry. Mainstream geologists countered that the rock was not ancient bedrock, but a hard concretion that formed rapidly around a dropped industrial object, possibly from nearby mining operations in the early 20th century. Further analysis by Pierre Stromberg and Paul Heinrich in 2004 confirmed it was a 1920s-era Champion spark plug, likely from a Ford Model T engine, and the concretion was composed of iron oxide and hardened sediment that could form in decades, not eons. Yet questions linger. Why was the artifact found in a geode-like nodule with no other human debris nearby? Why did initial radiometric analyses, though later discredited, suggest anomalous mineral layering? And why does the spark plug show no signs of impact damage if it was simply dropped and buried? While the consensus now leans heavily toward misidentification of the host rock's age, the Koso artifact endures as a cautionary tale about the intersection of amateur enthusiasm, geological complexity, and the human desire to find anomalies that upend established science. Still, for those who study forbidden artifacts, it remains a potent symbol. An object so ordinary in form, yet so extraordinary in alleged context, that it blurs the line between hoax, mistake, and genuine temporal dissonance.
5. The Dropa stones, enigmatic discs from the Bayan Kara-Ula mountain range. In 1938, a Chinese archaeologist named Chi Pu-Te led an expedition into the remote Bayan Kara-Ula mountain range on the border of China and Tibet, a region long shrouded in myth and inaccessible to outsiders. There, in a series of caves, his team discovered hundreds of strange, circular stone discs, each about 30 centimeters in diameter, with a central hole and fine grooves spiraling outward like the tracks of a vinyl record. What made them truly extraordinary was the microscopic hieroglyphic script etched into the grooves, approximately 30,000 characters per disc, along with radial patterns suggesting celestial maps. Locals, the Dropa and Ham tribes, claimed these were relics of their ancestors, who described in oral tradition a time when yellow-faced men descended from the sky in a damaged air vessel, seeking refuge in the mountains. The story, they said, was recorded on these stones. For decades, the Dropa stones were dismissed as legend until 1962, when Dr. Tsum Nui of Beijing University reportedly spent 4 years deciphering the script. According to leaked and later disputed translations, the inscriptions told of an extraterrestrial crash landing 12,000 years ago, the stranded beings' failed attempts to repair their craft, and their eventual assimilation or eradication by the native inhabitants. The Chinese government allegedly suppressed the findings, citing national security concerns. Skeptics have long questioned the stone's authenticity, noting that no verified photographs, physical samples, or peer-reviewed studies exist in the archaeological record. Some researchers suggest the story originated from a 1960s pseudo-documentary or a blend of local folklore and Cold War-era UFO hysteria. Yet intriguing anomalies persist. In 1974, Austrian engineer Ernst Wedgerer photographed 2 of the discs in the Bangsing Museum in Xi'an before they reportedly vanished during a government inventory. The stones allegedly exhibited unusual material properties, containing metals like cobalt and nickel in ratios not found in natural rock, and emitted faint electromagnetic fields. Whether hoax, myth, or genuine artifact, the Dropa stones represent a collision of forbidden history, suppressed discovery, and the enduring human fascination with ancient contact.
If even a fraction of the claims hold truth, these disks would not only rewrite human origins, but prove that advanced, non-human intelligence interacted with early civilizations, leaving behind physical records buried in Earth's most inaccessible sanctuaries.
6. The Ica Stones, prehistoric humans riding dinosaurs. In the arid Ica Valley of southern Peru, a collection of over 15,000 andesite stones has sparked fierce debate since the 1960s. Carved with astonishing detail, these artifacts depict scenes that defy paleontological orthodoxy. Humans coexisting with dinosaurs, performing advanced surgery, using telescopes, and mapping constellations with precision rivaling modern astronomy. The stones first came to international attention through Dr. Javier Cabrera Darque, a local physician who claimed they were ancient relics gifted to him by indigenous farmers. Radiocarbon dating of organic deposits on some stones suggested an age of up to 1,500 years, but the carvings themselves, if authentic, imply knowledge of Cretaceous-era creatures that vanished 66 million years before humans evolved. Mainstream archaeologists quickly labeled the collection a hoax, citing confessions from local artisans who admitted to carving the stones for sale to tourists. Indeed, many stones surfaced during a boom in Peruvian souvenir markets, and stylistic inconsistencies suggest modern tools were used. Yet Dr. Cabrera insisted only a fraction were fakes, and that the true stones came from sealed pre-Columbian tombs, inaccessible to modern forgers. He noted that the patina covering the carvings matched the stone's natural weathering, indicating great age, and that some depictions, such as heart transplants or cesarean sections, closely resemble Incan medical practices later documented by Spanish colonists. Most controversial are the dinosaur depictions, not generic monsters, but specific species like brachiosaurs and triceratops, rendered with anatomical accuracy unknown to 20th century Peruvian farmers. Could these stones encode a lost oral or visual tradition, passed down from a time when humans preserved memories of megafauna that survived longer than science admits? Or do they reflect a more esoteric possibility, that ancient civilizations possessed knowledge of Earth's deep past through means we cannot yet comprehend? While the Ica stones remain officially discredited, their persistence in alternative research circles underscores a deeper question. When evidence contradicts the timeline, do we reject the evidence or re-examine the timeline itself?
7. The Aiud artifact, aluminum in a 250,000-year-old riverbed. In 1974, near the town of Aiud in central Romania, construction workers dredging the Mureș River unearthed a mysterious metallic object buried 10 meters beneath the surface alongside mastodon bones dated to approximately 250,000 years ago. The object, a 20-centimeter-long, 5-kilogram wedge-shaped ingot, appeared strangely modern, with beveled edges and surface wear suggestive of mechanical use. Initial metallurgical analysis at the Institute of Metallurgy in Cluj-Napoca yielded shocking results. The artifact was composed of 89% aluminum, with traces of copper, silicon, zinc, and other elements. This alone was extraordinary. Aluminum does not occur naturally in pure metallic form and was not isolated by humans until 1825, with industrial production only becoming feasible in the late 19th century. Even more perplexing was the presence of an oxidized layer estimated to be 400 years old, implying the object had existed long before modern aluminum smelting. Mainstream archaeology dismissed the find as a fragment of World War II aircraft debris, perhaps from a crashed German or Soviet plane washed downstream and buried by sediment. Yet no aircraft wreckage was found in the vicinity, and the depth of the stratum, sealed beneath multiple undisturbed geological layers, made recent intrusion highly unlikely. Moreover, the alloy composition differed significantly from 20th century aviation aluminum, lacking manganese and containing unusual impurities consistent with no known industrial process. Romanian researchers, including engineer Florin Gheorghita, argued the artifact's wear patterns suggested it functioned as a mechanical support or landing gear component, possibly from a vehicle not of this era. If authentic, the Aiud artifact implies either an unknown ancient civilization with advanced metallurgy or the presence of non-human technology in deep prehistory. Even if one concedes it is a modern contaminant, the question remains, how did a piece of high-purity aluminum end up encased in Pleistocene sediment alongside extinct megafauna? The Aiud artifact stands as a metallurgical enigma, a silent, gleaming shard of metal that refuses to fit into any accepted chapter of human history, forcing us to consider whether some materials may outlast the civilizations that made them, only to resurface as questions buried in stone and river silt.
8. The Maine penny, a Norse coin in a Native American settlement. In 1957, during excavations at the Goddard site, a prehistoric Native American trading village in Penobscot Bay, Brooklyn, Maine, archaeologists unearthed a small corroded coin amidst thousands of indigenous artifacts. At first glance, it seemed insignificant, but closer examination revealed something astonishing: an 11th century Norwegian silver coin minted during the reign of King Olaf Kerr 6793 CE. Known as the Maine penny, this single Norse artifact, found in a context securely dated to 1180-1235 CE, represents the only verified pre-Columbian European object discovered in a Native American archaeological site in the United States. Mainstream historians cautiously attribute its presence to long-distance trade networks, suggesting it traveled from Norse settlements in Newfoundland over 1,000 miles northeast through indigenous exchange routes, eventually landing in Maine. Yet this explanation raises more questions than it answers. No other Norse items, no tools, weapons, or ship fragments have ever been found at the Goddard site or in surrounding regions. The coin itself shows no signs of having been used as jewelry or ceremonial object. It appears to have been lost or discarded like currency. If Norse explorers or their goods reached this far south, why is there no corroborating evidence? And why would a single coin of limited intrinsic value compared to furs or tools traverse such vast distances through multiple cultural hands? Some alternative researchers propose the coin is evidence of direct Norse contact with New England tribes, possibly even seasonal trading outposts now lost to time. Others suggest it may point to a broader, undocumented transatlantic exchange that predates Columbus by centuries. While the Maine penny is not overtly forbidden in the sense of defying physics, its isolation makes it deeply anomalous, a solitary thread of European metal woven into a purely indigenous tapestry, hinting at connections history has yet to fully acknowledge. In the landscape of forbidden artifacts, it serves as a quiet but potent reminder: absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, and one small coin may carry the weight of an entire lost chapter.
Number 9. The Stone Spheres of Costa Rica, Precision Giants of the Diquís Delta. Scattered across the Diquís Delta and Isla del Caño in southern Costa Rica lie over 300 colossal stone spheres, some weighing more than 15 tons and measuring up to 2.5 meters in diameter. Crafted from granodiorite, a hard igneous rock not native to the immediate region, these orbs exhibit craftsmanship so refined that many are spherical to within 2 millimeters of perfect symmetry. Radiocarbon dating of associated artifacts places their creation between 600 and 1500 CE by the extinct Dikis culture, a pre-Columbian society with no known metal tools, wheeled transport, or draft animals. How then did they quarry, transport, and shape such massive stones into near-perfect spheres using only stone hammers and abrasive sand? Even more baffling is their arrangement. Many spheres align with cardinal directions or form geometric patterns, straight lines, triangles, and parallelograms, suggesting astronomical, ceremonial, or territorial purposes. Spanish conquistadors, who first encountered them in the 16th century, believed they were forged by magical means or represented lost treasure. Modern looters blasted several open with dynamite in futile searches for gold. Despite decades of study, no workshop or tool assemblage has been found that explains their manufacture. Geological analysis shows the granodiorite originated from hills 50 kilometers away, implying coordinated labor and logistics far beyond what is assumed for a chiefdom-level society. Perhaps most controversial are claims by researchers like Bruce Trigger and George Erickson that some alignments correlate with solstices or constellations like Orion, raising the possibility of a sophisticated celestial observatory system. Yet without written records, their true purpose remains enigmatic. Were they status symbols, cosmic calendars, or markers of a lost geodetic grid? The spheres defy not just engineering expectations, but our assumptions about social complexity in pre-Columbian Central America. Their silent perfection, scattered across jungle and pasture, stands as a monument to a forgotten precision, one that challenges the notion that advanced geometry and large-scale organization require industrial infrastructure. In a world eager to categorize ancient peoples as primitive, the Costa Rican spheres whisper otherwise, that knowledge, not just technology, can vanish, leaving only silent stone witnesses to minds we no longer understand.
The Utsuro-bune, Japan's hollow ship, and the mysterious foreign woman. In 1803, Japanese fishermen on the coast of Hitachi province reported an extraordinary encounter that would echo through Edo period records. A strange circular vessel washed ashore, unlike any known ship in regional maritime tradition. Described in multiple contemporary texts, including the Toen Shosetsu, Hyoryu Kishu, and Ume no Chiri. The object was dubbed Utsuro-bune, or hollow ship. It measured approximately 3.3 meters in height and 5.5 meters in diameter, constructed of red lacquered rosewood with metal reinforcements and sealed with pitch. Inside, witnesses claimed to find a young woman, perhaps 18 to 20 years old, with pale red hair, pale skin, and eyebrows plucked in a style unfamiliar to Japanese or European norms. She wore unidentifiable clothing of unknown fabric and clutched a rectangular box of pale material, refusing to let anyone touch it. Most striking was the vessel's interior, walls inscribed with strange glyphs resembling no known script, and provisions including water, cake, and meat of uncertain origin. Unable to communicate with her, the villagers reportedly pushed the vessel back to sea, where it drifted away. While mainstream historians dismiss the account as folklore or allegory, possibly reflecting Japanese anxieties about foreign contact during the Sakuku isolation period, the consistency across multiple independent documents lends it unusual credibility. The detailed descriptions of the craft's construction, the woman's appearance, and the mysterious box suggest more than mere myth. Some researchers have drawn parallels to modern UFO reports, interpreting the Utsuro-bune as a pre-industrial encounter with non-human intelligence. Others propose it was a Russian or Dutch castaway vessel, though no known Western ship of the era matches the described form. The box she guarded, often speculated to contain a severed head, sacred relic, or advanced device, remains the story's most enigmatic element. If the account holds any truth, the Utsuro-bune represents a forbidden artifact not of stone or metal, but of narrative. A documented anomaly that defies easy categorization, emerging from a culture with meticulous record-keeping, yet no incentive to fabricate such a tale. In the pantheon of unexplained phenomena, it stands as a haunting reminder that some encounters leave no physical trace,
only words, whispers, and the unsettling possibility that history occasionally brushes against something it cannot